Justin Fields going to the New York Jets. What's your thoughts here?
I think the one prevailing thought that I have is, obviously it's not a long-term deal, just 2 years, $40 million, 30 guaranteed. If one of the top two quarterbacks for any reason were on the board at number 7 overall in the draft, I would hope this wouldn't preclude them from taking one of them, right? I think that's the biggest thing for me. Now, I'm starting to feel like both of those guys are going to go in the top 3 or 4 anyway. It might not matter, but no, it's a flyer to take on a young guy with a lot of experience, right? And he played at least decent football with Pittsburgh last year, 65.7 passing grade, 76.8 rushing grade. We know he can run the football, and I think just to have a functional starter in there, obviously, is something of value to Aaron Glenn and the Jets right now, right? I mean, your plan cannot be going into the season a 35, 36-year-old Tyrod Taylor as your starter, and I get that. That makes a lot of sense. He certainly fits the mold of a veteran backup better. So Fields gets one more chance behind what's a pretty good offensive line. He gets his college teammate Garrett Wilson back. He's got Breece Hall and Braylon Allen in the backfield. Certainly you'd expect the Jets to run the football a lot of Fields as their starter, right? And that was the case in Pittsburgh early in the year, the first 6 games of last year. So I think, look, it's very unlikely to be the long-term, savior move that Jets fans are always looking for. I think it really, after a hot first 3 games throwing the ball, it started to slow down, and that's why the Steelers went to Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. And obviously in this scenario, the Jets gave him pretty good money, all things considered, and he felt a little bit slighted by the Steelers. And I think that's the other angle to this is, where do the Steelers go from here? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Do they pivot back to Russell Wilson? And they really are a team without a long-term plan at quarterback right now. But as far as the Jets go, that's really the one thing I keep thinking is, if there were one of those quarterbacks available at number 7 overall in the draft, I would just hope that they are not so committed to Fields and have all their eggs in that basket that they would still be willing to select one, even if Fields is the day 1 starter this season.
Yeah, I don't think that, well, I do think there's a chance that Shedeur certainly gets to them at number 7. I don't think that they would pull the trigger on Shedeur Sanders at number 7. I think this becomes now more of a conversation of who they might draft a little bit later, whether it's the 2nd round, 3rd round, whatever that is. Do you think that this now increases the chances for Jalen Milroe to be that pick for them? Because I just don't think that they're going to take a quarterback at number 7. I think they're freeing themselves up. I think this move really frees them up to do whatever they want at number 7, which is probably what they wanted to do all along. Do you think it makes it more likely that when we get into, I think they would hope round 3, the quarterbacks that they would have at their disposal to pick, if Jalen Milroe is there, do you think that they sort of stick with that archetype now that they have Justin Fields, they have Tyrod Taylor, and then getting a younger Jalen Milroe as well? What do you think about that connection there?
I don't know that it would be Milroe. It's hard to tell with a new staff what type of quarterback they're looking for, right? I think they really saw Fields as the best option available amongst really what's a very veteran free agent crop, right? It doesn't really help them in the long term at all to keep an Aaron Rodgers, to go with Russell Wilson, or even to start Tyrod Taylor, who's already there. I think the fact that Fields was a little bit younger, and maybe, just maybe, there's that small chance that he could be your quarterback for several years if he really plays up. But I think somewhere in round 3 or 4, it could be Milroe. You could be talking Will Howard. There's rumors that they really like Kyle McCord out of Syracuse. It certainly could be somebody like that, but I wouldn't guarantee that it's Milroe just because they went out inside Fields. I don't think we know for sure that that's what the Jets are going for. I just think they felt like Fields was the youngest and best option for them right now among this free agent crop. I don't know that they're necessarily looking for a player like Justin Fields and the way that you would run an offense with him long term.
Low moving costs if they get Kyle McCord.
Also true, right across the state.
Very low moving costs. You got to think about that when you're budgeting for the team. So it's really important. No, I'm excited about Justin Fields, and I am excited for him to get, I think, a legitimate shot at a starting quarterback gig. And last year, yeah, he started out the year as the starting quarterback for the Steelers, but there were some rumblings behind the scenes where it was like, okay, well, they were winning with Justin Fields, but then they very quickly kind of went to Russell Wilson once, things started to stall out, and it was almost like they didn't really give Justin Fields that full leash to be able to have a little bit of like, okay, here was the peak. All right, now it's going down a little bit, but it could jump back up. They didn't really give him that timing. And there were some reports out there that was like, okay, well, Russell either had it in his contract or there was just a verbal agreement that like the starting job was his. And so when he was hurt to start the season, obviously he couldn't do that. But then once he was healthy again, they went over to him pretty quickly. I wonder how much of a fair shot, if you will, Justin Fields really had to just go through the ups and downs of being a starting quarterback in this league. he gets that with the New York Jets. Certainly Tyrod Taylor being there and a veteran, they can lean on Tyrod if they believe that he gives them the best chance to win football games. But I think Justin Fields now goes into this situation, certainly depending on what happens in the draft, as their QB1, as their starter for next year. And I'm excited for it because last year what we saw with the Steelers was his most efficient year yet. And so for me, I love this fit. I love this move. I think it's the right bet to make for the New York Jets, taking a chance on still a young, talented quarterback to see what we have here and now his third stop in the NFL. And most importantly, it frees you up to do whatever you want at number 7.